Hey guys, I'm Jordan Woods Robinson. I play Eric on The Walking Dead, and you are listening to Creech Questions.
Greetings again, everybody, and welcome to our 16th episode of Creech Questions. I am your host, CJ Creech, and in the background is our awesome theme song, East Virginia, by the band The Irma and Louise. Make sure you check out more of their music at theirmalouise.ch. Now, we've got a great show in store for you today, so let's not delay any longer and get straight to our shout-outs.
You give me a gift, bam, thank you note. You invite me somewhere, pow, RSVP. You do me a favor, wham, favor returned. Do not test my politeness.
Our first shout-out is to our brand new sponsor, The Dead Connection. I am extremely excited to be partnering with them and to have their sponsorship for this show. Starting next week, the three lovely ladies of The Dead Connection will be hosting their own segment on our podcast, talking about recent news pertaining to The Walking Dead and its actors. These ladies are located near the filming in Georgia, so you never know what they will talk about or reveal on our podcast. Just keep in mind, it's not going to be any spoilers. If you want to check out their website in the meantime, it's www.thedeadconnection.com. Our next shout out is to the zombie wrangler himself, Charles Flowers. Charles knows quite a few of the walkers from the show and has over 9,000 likes on his fan page. Once he reaches 10,000 likes, he is going to do a massive giveaway of 4 autographed items from various cast members from The Walking Dead. Make sure you enter by giving him a like at facebook.com/Charles Zombie Wrangler Flowers. Lastly, our shout out is to you, our listeners. We have received amazing feedback and so many great fan questions for this episode that it was really hard to limit it to just 12. Keep sending in those great questions, and sooner or later, those who weren't able to be on this one will definitely be talking to one of your favorite actors in a future episode. Now, if you've been following the news, you may have noticed that Dave Sheridan, who was a guest on Creech Questions 2 episodes back, was assaulted by an assailant dressed as a zombie. The news has been featured all over the internet on sites like Fangoria and Movie Pilot, and Creech Creative Productions is dedicated to solving this mystery. So without further ado, here is Creech Creative's Most Wanted with host Paul Brown.
Greetings everyone, and welcome to Creech Creative's Most Wanted. This past week, some shocking footage came to light.
Are you okay?
March 15th of 2015 was a beautiful day in Dallas, Texas. Not too hot, not too cold, but just the right temperature for assault. The footage, just released by the Dallas PD, consists of confiscated cell phone footage from other attendees and is compiled into a very detailed depiction of what went down. The footage shows famed actor and former Creech Questions guest Dave Sheridan joking around and having fun with his fans. He was at Walker Stalker Con Dallas promoting the upcoming premiere of his film, The Walking Deceased, with some of his fellow castmates. During a water gun fight, an extremely volatile fan took it upon himself to physically assault David. Thanks in large part to the digital age, many people recorded what went down through their cell phones and captured the attack from an astounding 5 different angles. Due to the ongoing nature of the investigation, Dave was unable to provide us with a response at this time. It's unfortunate timing of the release of this video, as it was released just a week prior to the eagerly awaited release of The Walking Deceased on DVD. We have sent out for more information from the Dallas PD, but they have not returned any of our calls yet. The assailant is presumably male, short brown hair, and weighs about 160 pounds. He may or may not still be dressed as a zombie, so use caution when approaching. If you've seen this assailant or have any information that may help lead to his capture, the DPD and Dave ask you to call 214-373-TIPS. That's 214-373-TIPS. If you attended Walker Stalker Con Dallas and witnessed this shocking attack and wish to aid us in our investigation, give us a call at 1-800-FIND-NOW. That's 1-800-FIND-NOW. And we will bring you on the air Together, we can make a difference. Until next time, be smart, be safe, be vigilant.
Thank you for that, Paul, and I hope we are able to find out this person's identity and bring them to justice. Without further ado, here is our interview with Jordan Woods Robinson. Thank you again for coming on our show this week.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm really excited to. You told me that you might be doing like role playing stuff, so I'm a little nervous about that, but we'll see.
Some listeners may not know, but you are also a member of the Blue Man Group. How did your involvement with them come about?
So I went to school in New York at New York University, and Blue Man actually started in Manhattan. And so while I'd been introduced to the show a number of years prior, but while I was at school, it was one of my main things that I wanted to do when I left. Actually, I told all my teachers that it was within my 5-year plan of graduating, and everyone just kind of rolled their eyes and said, okay. But I auditioned my junior year of college and got some great feedback, and they said, we want to take you into our training process, and we want you to be a part of the show, but that process is not guaranteed. You might, we work intensively for 6 weeks, and you can be cut at any point during that. And so we don't want you to drop out of school and then get cut from the program and then have nowhere to go. So I finished up my college, and within 2 weeks I was in training, and I was the rest is history. I've been doing the show now for 8 years, and I performed in all 5 cities around the U.S. as well as on the cruise ship. We just finished up a leg on the Norwegian Epic, which is cool.
that sounds pretty epic. No pun intended. All right, and yesterday the Blue Man Group released a video where, through the help of Limitless Solutions, they were able to provide a Blue Man arm to a 12-year-old amputee fan named Wyatt. How touching was it to be involved with that?
It was incredibly touching. So I was actually I was one of the Blue Men that actually got to meet Wyatt and present his new robotic arm to him. And I think he was such a cool kid. I mean, he's seen a lot of stuff. He's got an amazing family. He had his arm partially removed just after he was born, and then he was also diagnosed on the autism spectrum shortly later in his life. And he is just such a great person, and just loves Blue Man. And I think he listed off every city that the Blue Man tour is going to this year, which is just mind-boggling. And someone from our PR department was like, "So where are we next?" She was just kind of talking to herself, and he walked over and he told her where the tour was going to be sat down. She's like, "Is that right?" And then she checked it, and it was right. But just such a warm and welcoming experience, and so happy that we could actually. I think Limitless is just incredible. I saw the Robert Downey Jr. video with the Iron Man. Gift, the arm, and I thought that was incredible. And then just to be able to be a part of it when Blue Man Group got to present an arm as well. Just, I think it's brilliant that we're using 3D printing for something like this, that, as being able to provide prosthetics to kids, and as they grow, then there's a cheaper alternative to being able to reprint the arm, for a fraction. It's still going to be expensive, but for a fraction of what it would cost if they had to go in and get something custom fit from the hospital, then it provides an ease of life, and also less of a financial burden for someone who already has those extra expenses in their life.
Exactly, and I saw the Robert Downey Jr. one. It's amazing what they do. Yeah,
it really is, and seeing the arm come to life, and watching Wyatt learn how to use it was also really cool.
Now, was it hard? Because usually the Blue Man Group kind of doesn't. I guess you could say they're kind of remain emotionless. Was it hard to stay emotionless for that scene, or when they were filming?
We definitely got just as excited as him. I think watching it back is when I start to feel a little bit of the welling up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a beautiful, cool thing. But watching it, or being a part of it, it was just exciting. We were there with him, and we were watching all of this unfold, at the exact same time he was, and so we were getting to, see it for the first time as well, and that was just truly exciting. There were lots of moments when the Blue Men, we just looked at each other and we said, how are we a part of this? This is so cool. Without talking, of course, but just being so happy for Wyatt and so proud of these two great companies coming together to be able to give that to him.
All right. And when you're not dealing with the citizens of Alexandria on The Walking Dead, or performing in various cities as part of the Blue Man Group, you run your own company called SOSstudio. Can you tell us a little more about that?
I did, yes. SOSstudio is, we're a couple different things. We're an online recording studio. We're a DIY musician blog, and we run a podcast for artists that is teaching the business side of things, talking to a bunch of successful artists who've gone through, all the steps and asking them, how did you make it? What do you do? How do you promote? How do you brand yourself? How do you network? And so our main goal is really to just help the emerging artist and give them a leg up wherever they may need it. Some people need tracks for an album. Some people need tips on getting their studio to sound good. And so all of that is coming through, and it's something that's very dear to me and very close to me. I've been a musician my whole life, and I've always been recording in one way or the other. And I put together this network of people that we all have home studios. We're all freelance musicians, and we record. And so now anyone can come to SOSstudio and say, hey, I've got a song, and and I've recorded it with my guitar, but that's all I have. And we take that and we add drums and bass and background vocals and anything else that the person wants and they can think of, and just in as it would be in a standard home recording, or as in a studio recording situation, except we can do all of this without anyone having to leave home, and so we're saving time, we're saving money, and we're getting the same product. So it's been very rewarding, and I've really enjoyed being a part of it.
Awesome. Now, you've also stated on Facebook that you have a new idea for a service for SOSstudios that could help singers and songwriters get their music to places like iTunes and Amazon for free. Now, you're looking for input for it right now, but what would you like the end?
I think the end game for this, and I'm still rolling out the plan, so I can't go into a ton of detail, but it's going to take it one step further. And so far, I've been trying to get people to be able to record their music and to be able to know the steps afterwards to be able to do it. But I think I've got a system that's formulating very quickly, and everyone that I've talked to about it has been very excited. But it'd be the ability for someone to come to us, and we fully produce their album or their song. But then we can put it up onto iTunes and Amazon and Google Play and Shazam and Spotify and all these other services for free, and the whole process would be free. And in return, we would go into a little bit of a partnership. A song can cost, I think on the cheap end, a song can cost you $500 to get it done. It's once you pay for all of the mixing time, all of the mastering time, and musicians and everyone else, it's much more expensive than people think. And that, I'm serious, that is the cheap. that's the low side, $500. And then you have to pay money to get it uploaded as well to all of these services. So I think that I'm finding a way, and I'm talking to people and wanting to get some feedback. And so if anyone out there is a songwriter, please head over to my Facebook page and find the link. And I put in a 5-question survey of, would this be interesting to you, and would you use it? But find a way that the songwriter still owns all the creative rights, but then SOSstudio and the songwriter go into a bit of a partnership with this recorded version of it, so that when we're selling it, we actually can split the proceeds from it a little bit. So that's the plan. That's the plan. We're still working out. I'm actually meeting with a lawyer later today to be like, hey, how can I make this work for the songwriter, and let them know that I'm not trying to take your music. I'm not trying to to finagle you out of anything. I really am just trying to provide the next level for songwriters, and to say, we can do all of this and you don't have to put any money down. You can build your discography, you can increase your your audience. You can have music to send out to people, in consideration for labels and stuff, and we'll do it all for free. What do you think? So it's a work in progress, but yeah, I think it's a cool service. It's something that I would take advantage of if I were, without other bands around me to help me record.
Yeah, that sounds really exciting, and it could be definitely a very big thing going on in the future.
Yeah, I think so. Thanks, man.
Not a problem. And how did your involvement with the Walking Dead come about?
Okay. So I'm an actor in the Southeast. I live down in Orlando, Florida, and that's where I perform Blue Man Group. But so the film, as you know, the show actually shoots in Atlanta. And the way the Southeast works is that we're all considered. It's like one big talent pool. So everywhere from South Carolina down to Miami, everybody is being considered for these shows and these movies that are coming through the area. And so I'd auditioned for Walking Dead a couple times before. I think I auditioned for Eugene's role, a couple seasons ago, and I definitely auditioned for Aaron's role. And so after I read for Aaron, which all the names were changed and everything, but after I read for him, I got an email back saying, you're not being considered at this time, and I said, great. That happens all the time. And then, but a week later, my agent calls me and says, hey, they really liked your audition for Aaron. You didn't get that, but they want you to come in and read for this next role. And I was out of town. I had to put everything on tape and send it in, so that they could watch it on their computers. And I didn't hear anything for a while. And then I got a call saying that I had not booked it. It was down to 2 people, and they went with the other guy. And then 15 minutes later, my agent calls back, and they said, actually, the jury's still out. There lots of people weigh in on this. The casting director, the executive producer, the network. There's so many different teams that provide their opinion and help cast the person. And so they said, oh, we still haven't completely decided, so give us a couple more minutes. And then I got the call saying that I'd booked it and that I had to be in Atlanta within 24 hours. So it was a mad dash, but it was fantastic. And I'm so, I'm honored that they brought me in to play Eric, because I think he's a cool character, and I think the whole Alexandria storyline is crucial to where everyone is, with their world right now. Just us being able to offer a little glimpse into how things could be if maybe the apocalypse hadn't happened.
Exactly, and prior to getting the role, were you a fan of the comics, or had you read any of them?
I'd never done anything with the graphic novels, believe it or not. I've gotten caught up since then. And as an actor, I would do some research before I auditioned, and I'd look up the graphic novels and find out what I could. Even though in your audition they don't tell you what parts you're playing, so you just kind of have to absorb the world of it and see what it looks like. But I had sat down to watch the show on Netflix a couple of years ago, and I got about halfway through the first season. But the problem was I was watching with my newborn baby girl. So I had this 6-week-old baby on my lap while I was watching, and I very quickly realized that this was not the right thing for me to be watching while she was with me, even if she doesn't know what's going on. She's still absorbing it somehow. So I put that off for a little while. I put a pin in it, and I said I'll come back to it. And then after I got cast, both my wife and I went on a mad dash to watch all the way up. And while I was on set, so I'm in the end of season 5, and we had only made it to season 2 while I was filming. So I'm watching season 2, and everyone's on the farm, and then I show up on set. I'm like, who are these people? What's going on? I don't know anything right now. So it was an interesting experience to have some insight into some of the characters, but then to just be completely blindsided once I got on set.
That's actually pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
What's the best thing about shooting on the Alexandria set? Because I know it's a real housing division, right?
Yeah, it is. It's a real housing division in Sonoya. It's actually literally just down the hill from I'm blanking on the name.
Woodbury?
Woodbury, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's like there's a tree line that separates them, and then there's Alexandria, like it's right there. And so I think, probably from watching all the seasons up until now, probably the best thing is the air conditioning, being able to be in real houses that have running water, and they're gorgeous. These houses are just fantastic. And being able to have, a central location where everybody is. It seems like, on in recent seasons, you might be working with one person here, one person there, but the whole rest of the team is halfway across the county working on someone else, but now everyone's on set all the time, and just getting to see that family again, getting to, even if you don't have a scene with someone right now, you still get to sit down and have lunch with them, and you still get to say hi, outside the trailers and everything. And that's nice, having everybody all in one spot. I think I like that.
All right. And what is your reaction both to the massive positive and the negative reaction from the fan base to the kiss between Eric and Aaron?
Yeah. I haven't seen a lot of negative reaction, which I've been really proud of. I think the people that have stepped out have all been very positive and all been just super supportive and giving their thanks, and I've loved that. I've had so many emails where I've sat down and I just had to stop what I was doing because I wanted to read this beautiful thing that someone had said, or reaching out to me on Facebook or Twitter, and that's all been fantastic, and as far as the other stuff, I think everyone's got their opinions, and with the first of anything, people are going to be shocked by it, or whenever something presents itself for the first time, people say, "Whoa, I wasn't expecting that." But I mean, if you look at this, the story of Aaron and Eric is about love. It's about trust, and it's about just a strong relationship between two people who've been together for a long time. And actually, Ross and I sat down early on and said, This is what our story is. If we just focus now on being good friends and telling the story of these two guys, then we'll bring it justice. And the scene, I don't think anyone in the world, if you come into an abandoned warehouse and the person who you love that you thought was dead is lying there and they're okay, I don't think anyone is just going to sit down and start just talking about the weather.
Yeah.
They're not just going to sit there and be like, "Hey, how you feeling? You doing okay? All right, good. All right, I'll walk away now then." There's going to be that affection. There's going to be that kiss. This wasn't, people make it out to be a make-out kiss. It wasn't. It was a loving kiss from two people, and it's fine. I think everyone's got their opinions, but one thing that Ross and I have noticed is that this is our first kind of glimpse into some of the unfortunate negativity coming their way on a daily basis. Some people see this every day. Some people, it's just a part of their life to have to be the subject of a lot of these comments, and that's been really eye-opening for us to say, we're getting a very small glimpse into that right now, and it's hard to understand sometimes, because you want people to accept each other and respect each other and love each other as a human race and as fellow people who are trying to survive. Especially in this story, everyone's just trying to survive, and that's what it really comes down to. It comes down to the relationships. And so I think I hit on like 5 or 6 different things in there, but the bottom line is that it is what it is, and some people will voice an opinion that they don't agree with it, and that's fine. But it is what it is, and that's it's life. The show is not going to make up over all the years, all the decisions that the show has done in order to tell the best story. There have been some incredible things that have happened, and the show isn't going to start now saying, "Oh, well, soften this a little bit for somebody just because we think they're not going to like it.
Exactly.
That's not the point. They are telling the best story that they can, and they will tell it any way they have to in order to continue that creative passion.
Exactly. I think that's probably one of the greatest thing about The Walking Dead is really they don't shy away from any topic, and they present it, even though it's a world where zombies come back to life, they're very real things that the people go through.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And now, word has gotten out that filming is going to start for Season 6, I guess, around May 1st. But on May 1st and 2nd, you will be performing along with your wife in Florida in A Journey Through Love, a progressive cabaret. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. Yeah, there's something that my wife is a musical theater actress and has performed musical theater for a lot of her life, and I'm not, but I'm a musician and a singer, and so we got asked to be a part of this cabaret that's going on in Orlando, and it's going to just be, us, a 2-person, 30-minute show, and I think it's going to be a great time. I haven't really done a cabaret before, and I certainly haven't sung anything on stage since college, so it'll be interesting to jump back into it. But we are rehearsing now as we speak. We've got the guitars are out, and I'm playing ukulele and some violin, so we're going to be practicing all of that, and hope to see some people come out and support some good theater. Definitely.
And now I'm going into the fan questions now.
Okay.
If that's all right?
Yeah, please.
All right. I got at Florabun. She asked, what does Eric think or feel about being retired from recruiting?
Good question. I think, so my backstory for Eric is that I probably grew up in the mountains, maybe in the Appalachian Mountains, and I feel very comfortable in nature. I think I'm probably a pretty good tracker, and I'm probably pretty good at blending in. That allows me for Aaron to go forward and to approach people, but I can be there invisible in the woods, and and I can just present myself when I need to. And the tracking, the recruiting certainly does add. It certainly was exciting for me. It gave me something to do, but it also adds a lot of tension, a lot of stress, and obviously, there are those moments when you get trapped under a car, surrounded by roamers, and there's nothing else you can do. But I think the thing that allows me to be okay with it is that the relationship and the trust between Aaron and Eric is so strong that you know that he's coming back. And I think that's true of many relationships, the best relationships, that you can step back from it and say, I know that you're going to be okay because I trust you as a person and as a recruiter, and I know that, even when the dookie hits the fan, I don't know if I'll just say, even when stuff goes bad, then I know that you're going to come back to me, and that gives me some peace of mind to be able to stay home and continue holding down the fort in Alexandria.
All right, and speaking of the recruiting again, at Dead Connection asks, how do you think Eric feels about Daryl replacing him as a recruiter?
I think Daryl's fantastic, and this was not a decision that Aaron and Eric came to, that Aaron just decided on his own. This was the two of them, and this was, again, this is just Ross and I speculating, but I think that these two guys have really been under Deanna's wing for a long time. I think they are excellent, in the trackers in the woods. They know what's going on. They know how to talk to people. But they've also been around Deanna long enough that they know some of the psychological stuff behind all this too, and they know how to read people a little bit better than they let on. And so approaching Daryl was the strongest option for Alexandria and for this new group that we're forming to be able to, we've seen how he works. We've seen his ability to read people, and this was a step in the right direction for sure.
All right, and speaking of Deanna now as well, Dead Connection also asked, if it came down between Deanna and Rick, who do you think Eric would side with?
That's a great question. That's something I've seen before, and I think they both have their pros and cons, as is true with any leader in any society. I think that Deanna has the super controlled, like, knows what's going on, and maybe she sees a lot more than she lets off, I think. But then Rick has that, he's got the primal edge when he sees a lot of the same stuff, but he will also be a man of action, and he'll step in and maybe try to correct it a couple steps before it actually happens. And I think they both have their merits, and I'd actually kind of wonder if this was a good opportunity for them to have a split leadership. And we're in the conversation in the world of forming new communities and finding new ways to survive. And I think that it'd be a great conversation to be able to say, well, what about having a two leader system then, and not just relying on one, but actually sharing the responsibilities. I know that doesn't quite answer the question, but I think that's what I'd like to see. I see both for their own merits, and I do agree with bringing Rick into the community, even if he's got a bit of a temper sometimes.
Yeah, and hey, every president needs a vice president, so I do get what you're saying.
Right. Yeah.
And lastly, they also ask, can you share a personal favorite moment during the filming of Season 5?
Oh, yeah. I really enjoyed the spaghetti scene. I thought that was fantastic, just watching Norman work in his process and just watching him devour that spaghetti. He probably got a whole tub of spaghetti, over the course of those takes. But I also really enjoyed when we are approaching the gate, and when we are, I think just about the entire cast was in the RV. And it was one of my first times getting to meet everyone, but we're all in the RV, and it's 100 degrees outside, and we're all sweating bullets, and people are just joking around, and Ross is doing impressions for people, and everyone's just got a big smile on their face, and trying to stay away from the heat, trying to ignore it. But then when they call action, then everybody drops into their serious mode, and we pull forward, and then we get out of the RV and walk in, and it was a cool moment for me to see. Yeah, this is why these people are doing what they do. This is why the show is successful, because every person, from crew and in the offices to whoever's on screen, everybody knows their role, and they know the part that they need to bring to the show to make it super successful, and they know it so well that they can just be hanging out and then drop in to whatever they need to do, and to bring it to life. And I see that all over the place. I see the creative department, everyone just hangs out as a big family, but then when it's time to work, they work, and they make it happen. And it was great. It was very fulfilling for me to be there and to say, yeah, this is a good group of people to be involved with, and to see how they're bringing the show to life.
All right. And at Don TWD asks, what did you want to be when you were growing up?
I grew up on an animal rescue farm in Tennessee, and so there was a lot of my life that I wanted to be a veterinarian, take care of animals, and I still feel very comfortable with animals of all kinds. I wanted to be an astronaut at one point. I wanted to be a firefighter, all the typical little boy stuff. But I started playing violin when I was 4, and quickly, got a lot of feedback from teachers and other people that I actually had, a possibility of taking this further. And so I kept playing violin, and that eventually supported me for my teenage years. I grew up playing in Pigeon Forge and played at a bunch of different theaters and Dollywood, places like that. And then that led me to other performing arts such as acting and up in New York, and the rest is history. So it all kind of just happened before I even had a chance to really think, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. Then the seeds of music and entertainment had actually already been planted when I was 4. So that just kind of kept growing and sprouted out from there. And now it's a big blossoming tree of green. I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with more Earth references now.
All right. And JE Knight 04 asks, what is the one movie you could watch 1,000,000 times and not get sick of?
Oh my gosh, that's a great movie. All right, great question. One movie I could watch 1,000,000 times and not get sick of. Oh my gosh. Okay. Holy cow. All right, well, I'm just going to list, I can't do one. I can't do it. That's not fair, JE904. I'm going to say a couple. I'm just going to start listing off some favorites. First one that comes to mind for some reason is Amelie. I thought that was a fantastic movie. My daughter watches Rapunzel. I think Rapunzel is hilarious, and I kind of do watch it, or Tangled, Tangled. I kind of do watch it nonstop because she wants to see it so much. So that one's high on the list. My dad always loved to watch Steve Martin films, and so some of those old school Steve Martin comedies like Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid and stuff. You know what? I might have to get back to you on this. Maybe I'll put it up on Facebook or something once I figure it out. But I love a good movie. I love sitting down and watching something that I've seen 1,000,000 times before, as well as something new, as well as finding something on Netflix that's only got a 1-star review and putting it on just to see how bad it is. But the escape that movies offer is awesome, and I definitely jump on that bandwagon.
All right, everybody, that is going to do it for part 1. Make sure you come back and listen to part 2, as you will get to hear the world-exclusive premiere of the instructional video. Yes, I have went to Alexandria, and I've gotten their instructional video that Eric has made with their one camera, and you can listen to it in part 2 and also hear the rest of Jordan's answers to your questions. So this has been CJ Creech, and we'll see you in part 2.
Hey y'all, this is Lou Temple, Greg Nicotero,
Patty Moore,
T-Love,
Eric Jensen,
Emma Bell,
Big Chen for Vincent M. Ward, Jeff Cobra,
Jose Pablo Cantillo,
Danny Robot, Lars Gilliard Jr., Nestor Carbonell, Harold Parano, Daniel Thomas May, Alan Moss,
Sarah Wayne Callies,
Chad L. Coleman,
I'm RJ May from Breaking Bad,
Bates Gonzalez,
AMC's Comic Book Man,
The Walking Dead, and you're listening to Creech Questions.
You better listen up good or I'm come get you.
Hey everyone out there, this is CJ Creech, and you too can listen to our celebrity interviews on our podcast, Creech Questions. Check us out on CreechCreativeProductions.com and Facebook.com/CreechCreativeProductions.